What's up, you fish freaks? Welcome to episode number 106 of the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast, your ultimate source for all things kayak fishing. And if you want to discover freaking awesome under the radar baits from top tier small batch bait makers, check out darkhorsetackle.com, the sponsor of the show. I'm grateful for them. They actually have a show going on right now. And I got a notification this morning, Seth, that my box is on the way. Nice. So our next, as we go, I like to pull a bait out there, talk about it a little bit. So y'all just gonna have to wait till the next show. But I also want to give a shout out to 3 new channel members this week, trying to keep the dream alive, being able to do this full time. So I'm incredibly grateful for those who help support it on a monthly basis. Thank you, XOOC. We got an upgrade from Matt Strickler and my man Creek Fishing Adventures, John. Thank you so much, man. I know, right? So, how you been, boss?
Not as good as you. What'd you do this past weekend?
I made like 60 videos, as you hopefully been blowing up your feed.
Yeah. How have I been? Well, I think we were briefly chatting about it. It's been kind of a whirlwind at work, all kinds of stuff. And then we have for this summer, my kids are incubating eggs to kind of do a little science experiment, learn about eggs and hatching and all that. So we have a bunch of duck eggs. They were supposed to hatch. Day 28 was supposed to be like Friday, Saturday this weekend. And they all decided to hatch early, which was today. So I didn't have a brooder ready. So I had to hurry up, go to Lowe's, buy the plywood, buy the wire, all that good stuff, set up a brooder. So that took up a good portion of my day, but they're all set, ready to go. So yeah, that was a fire drill I had to put out today.
I love it. Well, you excited to talk once again about something that you weren't necessarily a part of? Here's what I love. You actually have a unique perspective of someone outside looking in. And so I look forward to the questions that you have.
That's I guess.
All right. I spent a lot of time with our guest at ICAST, and we had a good time. I'm appreciative of this man. He introduced me to a lot of people. Chad Hoover, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing, man. How about yourself?
Doing good. You got your OG PFD on. I know you wore that full day at ICAST. But Chad, before we get started, I got a list of things. I'm gonna let you choose your own adventure, because I know when I ask one question, I know you can rip. And so I'm going to give you all of the questions. And then, Seth, you got to remind us if we don't get around to it. All right. First, Chad, I want to talk about ICAST. Is it evolving? Is it dying? I know you just posted a video on it. Wasn't able to watch it, but I'm sure you have a lot to say about it. Of course, a lot of discussion around Yak Attack. And so I'm getting a lot of really strong opinions in a lot of my comments in my recent videos. The Flux Jet, electric, jet-powered kayak. If you haven't seen that, check out the video I posted on that boy. The new native hammer, which I'm really excited about because the pedal drive. And then I had a sub reach out to me today. He said, hey, you notice something? There's a lot more content creators in the background of all these videos versus seeing a lot of pros. So, Chad, I wanted to get your thoughts on that. And want to talk about where KFast is at. I know we've been talking, giving updates on a weekly basis. And should it be open to the public? Woo! Come on. That's a lot of questions. So, well, where do you want to start, Chad?
Let's start with the should it be open to the public part.
Okay. All right. Let's go. Here we go. Hopping right in.
I cover this pretty extensively in the video that we just released. So if y'all could be so kind as to head over to the Chad Hoover Fishing YouTube channel and watch that video. It's, ICAST. Is it dying or is it evolving? There's some opinions on it. There are some professionals that go to ICAST. There are some professional content creators that go to ICAST. And some professional content creators have gotten good at professional content creating, which means post shit that gets clicks. And so therefore you have to put salacious stuff in the titles. So what the alarming trend that I see is that almost this weird, like, rooting for ICAST to die. And that is the craziest thing that I can even imagine. The ASA, the American Sport Fishing Association, which is the organization that puts on ICAST, is our biggest advocates. When we buy rods, reels, lure, line, and terminal tackle, there's a federal excise tax that goes to the federal government. And the ASA is the ones that's up there on Capitol Hill beating the politicians over the head to make sure that money goes where it's supposed to go. So we don't need the ASA to go away. We don't need them to fail. And so here's what I've seen. Okay. If you're a pro staffer that is pure fishing, for example, right? One of the things that pure fishing does is you kind of adopt the entire brand audience. You get Abu, you get Fluger, you get Berkeley, you get all the brand families, right? So if I'm a guy that's sponsored by Pure Fishing, and Pure Fishing decided to pull out of ICAST and do their own thing at their own dealer distribution center and that kind of thing, and that makes sense for them, that's great. But if I'm a pro that used to go to ICAST and I spent a full 2 days doing videos on all of the different products from Pure Fishing, then I'm actually standing at ICAST now going, what do I do with my hands, right? Because it's a double whammy. Most of those guys are also sponsored by somebody like Tackle Warehouse. A warehouse that's running around with their camera. And if you were, and I'm not picking on Pure Fishing. This just seems to be the hot topic because they're the big conglomerate that pulled out. There's some big conglomerates in fishing, and we could do a whole video on the consolidation in fishing. And I think that is a topic that's more worth discussing than is ICAST dying. So you've got brands like Pure Fishing that own 27, 28, 29 brands. Then you got GSM. GSM Outdoors owns 15 or 20 brands, and they've been aggressively collecting brands over the last 3 to 5 years. You've got Rather bought Peak, which bought Strike King and Lose. And so there's been some consolidation of consolidation. And so when you've got these bigger brands and the bigger brands pull out, you've also got like Pradco, right, which is Booyah and some of those brands that fall under that umbrella. The pros that are sponsored by that collective ad agency or that collective group, when they go to ICAST, they don't have a home. They don't have a place to sit down and put their backpack. They don't have a place to say, I'm doing videos now. So those guys are like, ICAST is dying because they don't have anything else to talk about and because their brands aren't there, right? And so that doesn't mean ICAST is actually dying. It just means those people have relationships that don't necessarily work at ICAST anymore. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that a Pure Fishing and maybe even a GSM and a Pradco and a Rather would pull out of ICAST, even though it's a significant portion of the show and the funding, because it actually opens the door to younger, smaller, founder-based companies that are hungry to come in and get some exposure. You know, think ICAST is a little bit like Shark Tank in that you got big companies there, but you got these new companies that are trying to elbow their way into the room. And what we haven't seen in the last 6, 7, 8, 9 years is a lot of innovation. What we've seen is whatever somebody makes, everybody makes. If somebody makes this little piece of gum that looks like a scrotum with hair growing out of it, everybody makes a little thing with a hairball growing out of it, and they name it something different. And you got 37 pros going, all right, guys, our little ball with the tentacles out of it is revolutionary, and we designed this innovative. Shut the frick up. It's a damn ball with some tentacles on it, and there is not anything you could do to that at a micro level to make one vastly superior over the other. You can change to Elastec, which is
living rubber,
or you can go to fucking Plastisol, or you can go to rubber. That's about it. But don't stop talking about the other part, right? That's one thing. The other part of the show is they've brought in some tangential to fishing stuff like the ATVs and UTVs and stuff like that to build out some of the booth space and some of those other things. But those people are investing in growing the sport, and they're invested in growing opportunities for sportsmen. So I don't think ICAST is dying. I think it's evolving. So I'm going to answer the question about should the public be there?
Yep.
Absolutely not. I just put this PFD on for the first day and was trying to go from booth to booth, and you were with me. I couldn't go 15 feet without somebody wanting to stop me and talk to me about the PFD and this, that, and the other. And I'm like a pseudo celebrity in fishing. I've got a following, but I'm not like Kevin Van Dam or Mike Iaconelli or one of these guys. Those guys can't walk 30 feet in a trade show with mostly professionals without having to stop and talk to people.
Right.
So then what you end up with is, let's just say Seth is a fan of the show and he's there and he sees his hero. And then that guy's going from a meeting to a meeting because he's there for business. but he goes, hey man, I'd love to talk, but I can't. Or he just blows past you. You're like, that guy's a dick. I came here just to see him and he had a perfect chance.
That guy's an idiot.
But you don't know exactly, but you don't know what's going on. And you don't realize that for the first 2 days, it is death by meetings. These companies have paid, tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands to, in some cases, millions of dollars to be there, to have these personalities all under one roof, to have the businesses under one roof, to have the distributors under one roof, and to have the retailers there. Now, here's what my solution is, and I get really in depth about this on my video, so go watch it, please, is I do think, and I have been advocating to the ASA for this for about 6 years, maybe even a little bit longer. Make it a trade-sumer show, okay? Here's what I mean by that. Monday, let's do on water, and let's leave the hall open until 10 o'clock at night to get our shit loaded in, right? To get our booths set up. Then let's open Tuesday, trade show day 1. Wednesday, trade show day 3. Thursday is trade show day 3 or 2.5, but like it's also transition day. If you don't want to be there, if you've got a prototype that's worth $10,000 because you made a one-off, you can get it out of the show. Friday morning, it's a consumer show. Saturday morning, it's a consumer show. But here's how you do it. You manage it that way from the beginning. They're already there. They've already paid for their booth. They've already shipped all the product. They got all their people there. They've got all their stuff there. You can't reset a convention hall on a Friday for a show on Saturday anyway. You've already blown into Saturday. So tell the convention, we're going to stay through Saturday, but we're going to charge $10 for people to get in or $25 for a family. And you guys are going to make all the parking and you're going to make the concessions, but you set up a fund and you say, this fund is the ICAST, consumer attendee fund. And you track how much money came in and you take that money. And then after the show is over, you apply that to conservation, but you say XX number of dollars went to Captains for Clean Water that resulted in this. XX number of dollars went to this that resulted in this. And then people can go, hell yeah. And they can get behind it and they can feel good about it. But you keep out the people that aren't willing to throw $10 in so that it's not a just absolute madhouse with people running around with trash bags looking around, what's the best deal I can get? You know what I mean? Like, so you get a good show out of the deal. So I can tell you cannot do a trade show with the general public in it for the trade portion. But you're already there. You're already dressed for the dance. The dance floor is already decorated. Like, let's do it. Let's consolidate the trade part. Everybody's standing around on Friday with their thumb in their ass waiting on breakdown anyway.
Yeah, 2 o'clock.
Start making announcements at noon. Vendors, please do not break your booth down until, you know what I mean? And the vendors are all like drinking with each other and talking. It's just a sneaking stuff out the side door. Let's let that day be an actual show. Let's let the general public come in. Let's generate some revenue for conservation. But you cannot have a trade show and a consumer show at the same time. It just does not work. There are brands that have like $100,000 prototypes in their booth that if you let every, dingleberry that comes in there grabbing and twisting, you just can't do it, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is there's a lot of these brands that are like, we don't want to pack this stuff up and take it home. No. So they could sell their booth on the last day. They're trying to do it to people in the industry. Nobody in the industry buying that shit. Like, we're in the industry, bro. I could get that stuff from you at a discount anytime.
Right.
So, but if you let consumers come in, you would also open up the door for one of the largest user-generated content opportunities that ever existed, because now you got everybody in there with their phone doing social media. And so, yes, I do think there should be an evolution of it. I do think there should be a consumer component to it, but you cannot do consumers for own water. You cannot do consumers for the first 2 days for sure. But there is a way to do it, and I think the ASA should really tackle it. But for the folks that are rooting for ICAST to fail, you don't understand what ICAST really is. And for people that don't understand, they fight for us. They're advocates for us for the money we already spend. That's our money to go back into conservation and to go back into fisheries management and fisheries sciences. we should be advocating for ICAST to be successful. And it is successful. I think this year, because they got rid of some of the run and gun booth crashing influencers, and they got rid of some of these massive buying groups sending people in to vote in the new product showcase, and they got rid of some of these like Asian, like swarm groups. It just felt like there was less foot traffic. But
well, unpack that. You zoomed over that. I want you to peel back the onion on those three things real fast.
You could have more meaningful conversations. You didn't have to be on guard at any given time protecting your booth. You could just relax and do good business, right? What do you want me to back up on?
So you zoomed over with some history that not everyone listening in may be aware of. Buyers groups, how that used to work in the past, how they kind of mitigated that. Swarms, you mentioned, what used to happen. I'm setting up softball because I know you talked about these things. And you mentioned some other one that I forget about.
So buyers groups with some of the bigger organizations used to get a mass of badges, and they would give it to their buyers. And then they would say, hey, we've got this brand that we need to be best of show in this category. And they would go in and swarm best of show and then basically stack the deck.
Buy
the votes. Yeah, exactly. And so they've really cracked down on that. So there's always going to be a little bit of that in anything that is a award show that isn't super scrutinized. So, I mean, you were there, you walked around voting, you know how it works. You got media and you've got buyers, and the votes are equal. And, there's way more of them than there is of us. And not to mention a lot of the media, let's be real. A lot of us are compromised or conflicted. I'm going in there, but I'm also here representing a brand. So sure. I'm kind of tainted to a certain extent, even if I don't want to be, because I'm more familiar with that brand than I am with the other brand. And a thing that happened last year, and I actually went to the ASA about it, is there was some groups that would come in, and it would be these groups of Asians, mostly Chinese. This is not a race thing. This is a nationality thing. But they would walk into the booth, and they would have a couple of people come up and start talking to the people in the booth to kind of act like they wanted to do business. And then what they did is they had these phones or these mobile internet devices, and they were walking around. And I just happened to look over one of them's shoulder in one of the booths, and they had a program that was literally CAD scanning, image scanning through LiDAR, the product. And then what they were doing is they were taking those products and they were going back and knocking those products off before they even had a chance to make it to the market. So there was a lot of crackdown on that. There was a heck of a lot less of that happening. I didn't even see any of it, to be honest with you. So I think the ASA did a really good job. So between the buyers groups, the extra blitz of, to buy a badge for media. I got 300 subscribers on YouTube. I'm going to ICAST. I'm a media company, and getting rid of some of these, these Asian swarm groups that were coming in and kind of copying products. It felt like there was less foot traffic because there was, but there was a lot more opportunity for meaningful conversation. There was a lot more opportunity to take your time and do business. And there was a lot more time to create meaningful content. I can't tell you how many times last year I was in a booth. I had an appointment. We set up the camera. We had the tripod. Austin mic'd everybody up. And some jackleg comes jumping in. And I'm just going to say this because I am a content creator. I are one of us. But these people have paid tens of thousands of dollars to be there. This is not the platform for you to jump in their booth and do the gotcha moment. Hey, these pliers suck. This is stupid. I can't believe it. Just so you can get clickbait. And even if you are going to do that, don't do it in that person's booth, in their yard, without giving them an opportunity to defend themselves. And then people would come in and just do that stuff and crash a booth while you're in the middle of creating some meaningful content, just trying to do that clickbait, shock value type stuff. And that was like non-existent this year. So I was really excited about that, So
real quick, I had someone actually make this comment as a content creator. And I'm getting a lot of interesting comments over here in the side, but they're like, hey, why do you get to go, Darren? And why don't I get to go? And so can you walk through like the idea there or the stipulations? Because ICAST doesn't make it easy. And I don't think people know that.
Yeah, you have to upload a media credential. You have to have a website. You have to provide a business license. You have to prove you're a business, not I got a cell phone and I have an Instagram page and I got an opinion, right? You have to be credentialed. It's a trade show. It's for people who are in the business of fishing, in the fishing industry. So if you don't have a business, you are not in the trades for fishing. It's the International Consortium of Angling Systems Trades. That's what the show stands for. It doesn't mean ICAST. It's an acronym. So if you're not a business, you don't go to a trade show, right? Like when they have a show for home goods, for Home Depot and Lowe's, just because you have a house doesn't mean you get to go to the home show. You know what I mean? I got a damn house. Choke them out.
So, I do like the idea of the hybrid. So as like just a regular person, I don't know anything about the drama or ICAST dying or anything like that. I mean, I haven't watched really any YouTube videos on ICAST. As just like a normal person that I look forward to the products that come out. So I tend to go towards like websites that have like a list of products and genres and like who won, even though it's biased, who won best of show and different things, new baits, like any new baits that come out besides the fuzzy dice. I'm like looking at like, this is kind of cool. How can this, everything seemed to be a minnow this year from what I've seen so far, but all the new baits, but the hybrid portion. So I grew up in central Pennsylvania. And in Harrisburg, we have the Great American Outdoor Show, which I don't know where that ranks in the country for size of outdoor shows, but it's like a couple 100,000 people go to that outdoor show each year. It's absolutely packed at the farm show complex there in Harrisburg, or Hershey, wherever it is there.
That's the number one consumer show in the country.
Yeah, consumer, not trade. And it is just absolutely packed with outfitters from everywhere across the world, really, fishing, hunting, anything you want. And I know there's a ton of money in there that goes through there, and it's cool to see everything. So as someone that doesn't get to go to ICAST because I'm not affiliated with any business or anything like that, I think your idea, Chad, there's let the vendors and the trades do their thing. And then if they want to stay and have products or whatever they want to show, I mean, it would be thousands and thousands. I mean, I would go. I want to see the new products and do that. Like it would be thousands of people coming through.
So last year there was 14,000 people that went to ICAST.
And that's
early guesstimates this year is that it's somewhere between 11 and 11.5. I haven't seen the final numbers.
They announced 12.
12. Okay. All right. So I firmly believe that if you opened it up as a consumer show, it would be 45 to 60,000 people. You're in the fishing capital of the world. You're in the upper end. There's an extra reason to go there because people can say, baby, let's go down there. You can go to Disney and I can go to the damn ICAST, baby. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of people that are already there for vacation, for Disney and Epcot and all the other things. And again, you're centrally located in one of the largest biomasses of fishermen in the world. And so, yeah, I think 35 to 65,000 is a drop in the bucket. And just think about how much good you could do with $350,000 to $600,000 in conservation money that you could raise at $10 a head. Mm-hmm. It's just and it makes it manageable. And you buy them online, you know what I mean? And they could auction off VIP packages where you got to go the last day of trade and the first day of consumer for we only do 3 of these packages and it's behind the scenes or something. There's just a lot of cool things they could do, but you got to understand they're putting on a massive show. And some of these people are packing their stuff up, putting it on pallets and shipping it to another show like the next weekend. Right. So I get part of it, but man, if you shrunk it down a day, because we're all standing around with our thumb in our butt the last day anyway, and just made it a consumer show, stayed one more day, make it last till 3:00. You could still be out of there by 6 or 7 on a Saturday, and you got a whole evening and next day to get on the road. I just think it could work.
You could charge a lot more than $10. Heck,
I'm just saying, but just at $10, you would still get a pretty good chunk. And the reason I say $10 is you already got to pay $20 to park for a car. So if you got a carload of people, it's $5 a head. If you're by yourself, it's $20. So if you add too much more to it, now you're talking $50, $60, $70 to go to the show. It's going to deter people. So you're already paying for parking. You're making money for the city. Make it $10. Kick the doors open. Turn it into a feel good thing. And then you could have people wanting to take pictures with their heroes and wanting to meet with them because they've got all their meetings out of the way. So they're not rushing from booth to booth to booth or standing there, trying to do videos. Cause I mean, Darren will tell you, and he was winging it this year, but like, if you're not winging it and you're in the industry, you're literally from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. You're like, bam, 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 bam. And I told him, hey, don't worry about it, man. We'll work it in. And I just kind of forgot about it. And he's like, hey, can we go by this booth? And I'm like, yeah, man, I'll hit you up when I'm headed that way. And you look at your watch or your phone,
2 hours drop.
5.5 hours later, and you haven't even looked at your phone or your watch. You know what I mean? So it would be impossible to do it consumer and trade at the same time. But I really do believe they could extend the show a day, let that last day be consumer, get 2 days of consumer, 3 days of trade, and it'll double the benefit of people being there. And it will also attract some of those smaller brands that go, I can't afford to go to ICAST and spend all of this money in July to make back that money in April, February, March, April of next year. If I can make some money right now to make it worth going to the show, I can do it, which is why people go to the Classic. It's why they go to Red Crest. It's why they go to the Harrisburg show. So yeah, it would literally open the door to more opportunities as well.
Okay, I'm gonna switch gears for a second, real quick. Stinky River Tom, he thanks for the support, brother. Throwing some cash toward the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast. He says, I appreciate you guys. I remember seeing Chad roll up my local river a few years back in a kayak. Seeing that, Wendell's videos and AAA anglers got me off the bank. You guys rock. No, Tom, you freaking rock. Thank you, my man. I got a few comments over here, Chad. I want to get your knee-jerk reaction on them. Rhino Joe Outdoors. So the ICAST is great, but I feel there's a lot of influencer fatigue these days.
Yes.
I mean, I hear it, but you're the one that clicks on the videos to watch it. I'm so confused by the comment, right?
No, I know. I'm going to take his position on it.
What's his position? Is he talking about like
saying the same shit over? Everybody's saying the same thing. Like there were certain things that I was trying to fill the gaps, and I've actually kind of waited this year to do my videos so that I'm not just another talking head saying the same thing that everybody else said. What I loved about your videos, and I told you this, and this was off the record. I watched your videos because of your genuine enthusiasm about being at your first ICAST, because you put in the work, you've pulled the plow, you've grinded, you've established yourself. You're a brand. You've got, a substantial subscriber base. You've got a podcast. You've got all of these things, right? So you earned that youthful enthusiasm of being the rookie at the show kind of a deal. But what I think he's saying, and maybe he can respond with another comment, is I think he's saying that it's just the same people saying the same shit over and over again. Hey guys, I'm Bill Smith here at ICAST, and I'm in the FluxJet booth. Adam, tell us about FluxJet. And they ask the same question. How much does it cost? What does it weigh? When's it going to be available? Come up with a different angle, man. You know what I mean? Say something different. And I think that's what he's talking about. And I've actually felt that myself. So I've said, I'm going to wait. I did a couple videos where I turned it over to partners, sponsors, let them talk about their new product. I didn't so much even interject my own opinion because I kind of wanted to back off, get a feel for the energy from ICAST, get some consumer feedback, and then be the old guy that offers my perspective after that stuff's all boiled down to give that, that perspective, right? Versus for example, with the FluxJet.
Well, really quick, before you move into FluxJet, I don't get that. I don't get that point. Right? Because I'm hearing from Josh Welch in here. He said, I'm tired of watching the FluxJet kayak walkover. Don't watch it twice. Right? Why are you guys watching 4 or 5 of the same videos, knowing they're going to say the same?
Again, I'm going to take the consumer side again. I'm going to take Josh's side. I watched a couple of different videos. what I tell people all the time is I am a fan of this sport first. I am an angler first. I'm all these other titles you want to put on me later. People criticize me like, damn, man, you got real excited about that 7-pounder, blah, 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 blah. You goddamn right I did, because I still love this. I still get jacked up like a 10-year-old on Mountain Dew. Bro, you were fishing behind me when I accidentally caught that big fish in front of you. Did that seem fake when we were fishing when you were down here? You know what I'm saying? Do I like hype
No, you're having a good time.
Like, I love this shit. So to me, I watch a lot of content, so I'm going to disagree with you. I clicked on 5 different videos about the Flux Jet, hoping somebody would say something different, and they all said the same thing. So, Adam, tell me about the Flux Jet.
Well, what did we post that? We supposed to explain it for him? That makes no sense to me.
Yours is one of the best.
That's my confusion, because I've had people reach out to me and be like, hey, Darren, yours is the best out of all of it. So I must have had some type of unique angle, but here I am in the comment section reading, give me a unique perspective. What unique perspective is there on a new product?
Yours was unique. That's what I'm trying to say. Some of these other dudes just said the same shit over and over and over. And that's what, I don't remember who asked the original question about influencer fatigue, but that, to me, I agree. I'm like, come on, man. You know, it's like the outdoor influencers from Overland Expo. They all go to Overland Expo, and every one of them go to every booth. Hey, I'm here with Doo-Doo Towel. Doo-Doo Towel, tell us about what you do. I'll make a towel that you can wipe your butt with. We named it Doo-Doo Towel. How much is Doo-Doo Towel? $5.99. You can bury it in the ground, and it only takes 3 years to disintegrate instead of 375 years. That's why we care about the environment. Thanks, Bill. Where can we find out more information about Doo-Doo Towel? You can go to doodootowel.co. Thanks, Bill. And every bitch does the same thing. And ICAST has somewhat turned into that.
It's so interesting, because I don't, I guess I don't watch other people's videos, right? So I'm not over here watching the same.
Well, you're not even qualified to argue then. Shut up and let's move on.
I am on concept.
No, you're not.
Like, conceptually.
You got to go watch them. It's like the people talking about his ICAST dying who weren't even there. What? If you don't go, shit.
Here's the problem. There's 800 new products there, right? 800 new, not even including all the ones that already, everything else that they're showcasing. It's impossible for me to know what's AliX versus DIY Angler versus. It's impossible to know what everyone else is covering and our unique angles. So I still don't get. I get it, but I don't agree with it. Anyways, we're done.
I think that horse. I think that tarpon sticker.
Money.
Video. Money. Yep.
What was that, Chad?
I was just telling Josh Wells.
Got his back. Yeah. Same page.
I see you, man. I see you, man.
All right. Let's switch gears here. Let's talk about a few other things we did see at the old ICAST. If you got a question for Chad or myself or Seth. Yeah, or Steph. Yeah, who wasn't there.
We'll be there. My water because I'm
next year
while I was talking.
Yeah. Seth is enjoying this. Go ahead and throw that in the comment section. We will get that answered. All right. Some of the other things. So we kind of answered that. You don't believe it's open to the public. Where's my notes? I threw it in the air. Here we go. All right, Chad. I guess Yak Attack. So I had a question about this because I've known you for a while now. We've had a lot of conversations with Yak Attack. I know that you have been a user of Yak Attack, a proponent, a champion, even so deep into the Yak Attack DNA that you have helped design a lot of the things that we see today. You have been on advisory boards in the past, and you and I are having this conversation, and which was confusing to me, that there were things that you were finding out the same time I was finding out by walking into the Yak Attack booth. So what is happening here? Because usually I'm like, hey, Chad, I got a question about the Yak. You're like, oh yeah, I helped design that and blah, 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 blah. I remember one time I sent out that cart and you called me up like, bro, there's some things you don't know. And you read me the riot act. But I haven't got one of those calls in a while. So what's going on? Help me out.
Spill the beans.
Man, I am.
I want unfiltered Chad right now, by the way, because you just. I know that face. You just filtered, unfilter.
I am very seldom at a loss for words, and have to think carefully to be diplomatic. But at the same time,
am I talking to Chad Hoover?
At the same time, there are things in this industry, because of how long I've been in the industry, that people assume. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to speak off my heart. I'm going to take off my professional hat and I'm going to put on my Chad hat, because I've been with Yak Attack since it was in Luther's garage. I've slept at Luther's house. I watched his kids grow up. Like, I love that dude. You know what I mean? I have a founder relationship with Yak Attack.
Yep.
But they've become a private equity company.
Mm-hmm.
And founder relationships are, you get a call at 2:00 in the morning. Hey man, I got an idea. And you fire up the computer and you go back and forth on Google Sketch or, a CAD program or whatever. And I've had to learn that is not the relationship that I have anymore. Right. But that doesn't keep me from feeling like something's missing when I've always been on the backside of the product development. I've helped name a big chunk of their products. I've brought a big chunk of the product ideas to Yak Attack, at least under a premise, and then help define or refine the design. And then I felt like I've been the puppet master out there beating the drum for Yak Attack. And I don't know anybody that's beat the Yak Attack drum harder. I really don't. I'm not breaking my arm, patting myself on the back, but I feel like I've even at many times beat the Yak Attack drum harder than Yak Attack. Right. But things evolve, just like with ICAST evolving. So when I walk into a booth and they got a motor that I don't know anything about, with lithium batteries that I don't know anything about, with an Anchor Wizard type drop shot thing that I don't know about, with some other things that I don't know about, and they seem like products that didn't necessarily fit the Yak Attack brand strategy, if you will, for the Yak Attack that I knew before the acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. Like, I've had lots of great conversations with Dave, the CEO, but I also don't know what's coming. But what's crazy is I've got all these relationships, and then ICAST kicks off, and then I get blindsided with people going, "Hey man, I can't effing believe you got Yak Attack to knock off this product."
Mm-hmm.
Like, look, man, I saw it probably after you, because somebody got into the booth before me and did a video about it, and I made it to the booth, and it's already all over social media. So I don't know. I'll be honest with you. Like, that is like seeing your high school sweetheart or this girl that was the one, like, with her new boyfriend, and she acts like she don't recognize you to a certain extent. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. You always have these crazy analogies.
It was kind of a gut punch, man. Like, to be honest with you, because I've got these personal relationships with the founder of this company and the founder of this company and the founder of this company. And early on, I built these synergies between Luther and the other founder and the other founder and the other founders. And it was almost like it was us against the world, all back to back with our swords drawn against the greater industry.
Yeah.
Because we are contrarian as kayak fishermen. We're the anti-establishment, go against the grain. I actually experienced this exact same thing with KBF. People started responding to KBF viscerally when KBF became so big that it was the thing that we didn't like as kayak fishermen, is that this authoritarian, overarching, you ain't telling me how to do shit. That's why I'm a kayak fisherman. I'm doing it my own way. And then I had to back up and look at it. And so I almost feel like Yak Attack has kind of somewhat stepped off into that realm, and everybody expected them to always be this, what they were. And when private equity gets involved, they take a certain amount of money and they put it into a company, and they've got to exponentially return that to make their investment make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have to look at the landscape and go, what all can we sell to make more money? But they don't have that founder relationship with, Naqua or Anchor Wizard or Torquedo or, all of these other companies that the original ownership did. And I think that I have to, like everybody else is going to have to, I have to fundamentally change the way I think about that, because it isn't the Yak Attack that I helped build. It's a new Yak Attack.
Right.
It's kind of like going to a house. You're a carpenter, sort of, and you live next to a guy who started like remodeling his house. So he asked you for help, and then you helped him remodel his house and raise the equity, right? But then he sold it, and then you're driving back through the neighborhood and you see new people living there. It's like, and this is how I've digested it now. It's almost like, do I got the right to go up there and like knock on their door and be like, hey, I helped build this summit. Let me in. You don't. And so to me, that is the way that I've had to reconcile it. I have to back up and say, where does Yak Attack fit in my portfolio? Where do they fit in the sport? Yes, they're doing things that are commodity that I never thought that they would do. But if I back up and look at it and go, as a former dealer, if I can order everything from one brand, it makes sense to me, and dealers are struggling. Mm-hmm. And if they're spending money on social media ad buys to get people to buy stuff direct from their website, you can raise your average cart value the more stuff that you have. And if they're going to buy that stuff from somewhere anyway, they might as well buy it from me. All that makes sense cerebrally. If you think about it with your head, if you think about it logically, but that doesn't keep it from sucking. When like the dudes that built those companies, and you see them gutted when they realize that the giant just reached over and picked the grapes off their tree, and that's how they feel. And they come to you with it, man. It's like I was getting hit from every direction. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've had so many conversations with so many people in this industry. You were with me, bro. You saw people come up to me and basically assault me in the aisle. Bro, I'm like, I don't know. And I was so on the leading edge of all the Yak Attack stuff for so many years. It's almost like they're suspect. Oh, it's bullshit. There's no way you didn't know that was coming. And I'm like,
when did that disconnection happen? When's the last time you had any, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, that they asked you to review something or take a look at it and get feedback on? What's the last item?
It wasn't a certain thing. It was like a gradual. You know how when people get married and they slowly but surely grow apart? Some of it was when Luther started Bonafide. We focused way more on Bonafide for a long time than we did Yak Attack, right? And then when Bonafide merged with Big Adventures, there was a weird period. And then Luther kind of went back to Yak Attack and started, really focusing on that. And I moved out of Virginia. So the other thing is I used to be able to just drive over there, right? So I would be able to just show up, and then I would, Luther, we would go fishing together, right? Like, I haven't been fishing with Luther in, probably 7 or 8 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So honestly, it was probably 3 or 4 years before they were bought, or before the private equity group came in, like Luther and Dave talk about in the couple of video follow-ups that they've done.
You haven't seen that,
but
Yak Tribe.
It was around that time. It was around that time when, look, I had a rough divorce. I had a transition into getting out of the retail shop with Hook One and sowing my oats and building my brand as the TV show and with kayak bass fishing and some of that stuff. But like Luther used to be at all the national championship. And then that slowly started to we all had different priorities. We had different, avenues that we had to go down. So it's probably been, a good 5 years, to be honest.
Been a minute.
Okay. Yeah, like I didn't walk into the booth. I walked into the booth last year, and there was several products in there that I had no clue about, and I looked at them and thought, man, I could have helped make that better. But at the same time, they don't suck. They're great, And then some of them are just confusing to me. Like, I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, people always say, oh, you just say that because you're sponsored. Darren will tell you. I can't tell you how many times Darren's called me and be like, bro, I just watched your video where you said this. How do you get away with that when you're sponsored by the company? I'm like, because I owe it to my fans first to be authentic. And I owe it to the community first to be authentic. And I owe it to that brand to tell the truth. Because when people get a product and they find out something that they didn't realize and you sold it to them, they're like, how is this guy not bringing this up when he's an expert and I figured it out in 10 minutes? So if the consumer is going to figure it out, you might as well bring it up, and you might as well give them all the options so that when they do make that purchase, it's a qualified purchase. It's not like they feel duped or deceived. And so,
let's switch gears a little bit, because we've been talking about this for a minute. And your scenario, by the way, made it sound like I don't do that either.
Yeah, I totally got that too, Darren. It's like,
yeah, I just want to make something very clear.
Okay, let me say that before we move on. The difference is you are very vocal about it. You say not sponsored. You've worn shirts that say not sponsored. I'm sponsored. Like, I'm over sponsored. I'm big time sponsored. So the difference is I have to do that as part of my deal. It is your deal. There's nobody going to perceive that you're not that way because you wear that.
No one will sponsor me.
Yeah, you wear that on your sleeve. You know what I'm saying? Like, you talk about it that way. I have to have it come through in authenticity without saying it, because I am sponsored by the company. And I do say this to people all the time. I don't use their products because I'm sponsored by them. I'm sponsored by them because I use their products.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the difference.
All right, we're gonna switch gears a little bit. I love the comment. I have some comments here. I'm gonna rip through the comments. If you have anything you want to say on them, Chad, go ahead. First question is from Illuminathan. Does the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast feel pressure from the new FNG versus OG podcast? I'm assuming this was in Chad's video today that I didn't watch. Did you throw it out there?
Yeah, we said that this is the first video where we're announcing it.
There we go. Chad and I are business partners. I don't know if everyone out there knows this. The first time you're hearing it. We literally have a business together called KFast. Chad and I collaborate. We talk maybe 2-3 times a day. This isn't a surprise for me. And the more, the merrier. Chad's constantly on the show. I bring him on probably 4 to 6 times a year. And so I feel no pressure because we work together in such a regular basis.
Aaron's going to be on the show sometimes as one of the OGs to help me go against one of the FNGs, which we may bring Seth on for. You know what I mean?
I don't even know what an FNG is.
It's a freaking new guy. An
freaking new guy?
Or new gal.
That would prove the point, right?
Yeah, there you go. That's what the OG versus FNG thing is. In the military, the OG is the old guy, right? The original gangster. And when you get a new guy, they're the FNG. Like, you effing new guy or whatever. So we're going to do a podcast where we talk about the hot topics, like forward-facing sonar. He's going to take the FNG side. I'm going to take the OG side. I'm going to sometimes bring on somebody to help me make my point. He's going to sometimes bring on somebody to help him make his point. We're also going to talk about everything. That's why it's not conflicting with the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast. It's not going to just be a kayak fishing podcast. We're going to talk about politics. We're going to talk about some stuff how it relates to the outdoors, but we're going to talk about pop culture and things
politics. Chad Hoover on politics.
As long as not Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, I'm fine, Chad. We haven't talked about that.
8:15, bro. Like,
all right, switching gears. Ryan Fuller got an opinion over here, Chad. And this is interesting because we actually had a conversation about this. I was pissed to see the Yak Anchor copy the Anchor Wizard when the Anchor Wizard has been there forever. It's just a cheap way to make a buck, I guess. And this is interesting because you have an emotional connection to this, Chad. And I'll let you talk in a second. But we had the conversation. I was like, just my point of view is, just because you invented the Anchor Wizard doesn't mean you own the idea. It's called competition. Other people make similar products as inspiration. And so I was like, okay. Like, yeah, sounds like business. Sounds like every other product I've come across my entire life. But you had a visceral response to it.
I wouldn't call it visceral, but yeah, I mean, when I know the kid who started the company,
sure,
and he came to my shop when he was 20 years old, and he called me saying Mr. Hoover repeatedly, and I'm like, bro, just call me Chad. I'd love to come down to your shop and show you my product. And he drives down from Michigan in the middle of the night, and then I tell him what he needs to do, and he goes and makes the changes. I help him develop his pricing structure. I watch him, dude sold cows to save up the money to build the tool to make the injection molding piece that he doesn't do, to make the low profile version versus the bigger version. So I've been there for the ride with him and with Yak Attack. Mm-hmm. And, at one point Yak Attack distributed it. But here's what I will tell you that I like about it is it lit a fire under Cameron's ass. And he called me and he said, I'm going to do this and this and this. And I'm like, cool. And honestly, that's what I like about capitalism. That's what I like about free enterprise. Mm-hmm. And that's why I've come out of this going, I have a deal with Yak Attack. I will probably have a deal with Yak Attack for as long as they want to have a deal with me. But it doesn't mean that I have to take everything that they make and be happy about it or promote it. It just means that there's things that they do make that I love, and I'm going to promote it. And if they make things that I don't love, then I'm probably not going to promote it. Like, for example, and again, this is just one of those things. Yak Attack is a sponsor of mine. But in the video where we talk about the damn kayak candy, which, by the way, I think has the potential to be the Tide Pods of kayak fishing. Like, you shouldn't name soap candy. Like, this has already happened. We've already been down this road. And again, I'm not trashing a brand I'm partnered with. I'm just thinking maybe go back to the drawing board on that one.
We got to share with everyone what kayak candy is, because someone would be listening the first time and not.
It's a series of kayak cleaners, protectants, disinfectants, and that, so a UV protectant, a soap, or whatever. And I love Wade. He's a good dude. But in the video, he says it's like Dawn. But then I look at it and Dawn's less expensive. So it's like, well, then why would I just not buy Dawn? You know what I mean? And that's the kind of authentic stuff that I say I have to have this dialogue with my audience. If you're buying kayak candy because you're at a kayak shop and you just need something for the garage so your wife doesn't get pissed off that you take her soap out of the kitchen to clean your kayak, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't understand cleaning your kayak. So
we had this conversation today. I clean it once a year. Maybe twice if I'm going to a show.
Cleaning your kayak is like anti-mojo. Like, you get that stuff on it. You get that funk on it.
Absolutely.
Like, one of the things Wade said was like, you got a line remover for the side. Bruh, that shit streak down the side of the boat from river fishing is like a badge of honor. Like, I earned that mofo. You know what I mean? That stain on the side is the water line of hell yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I get it. There's some people out there that want to clean their kayak, that want to, maybe drink a macchiato while they're also washing their Subaru. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some people.
I have a Subaru. Calm down.
There's some people that clean their
wife's car.
Don't get me wrong. I like Subarus. I'm just saying the people that clean their kayak are the same people that like wear Birkenstocks. They wet their feet first so that they shape to their foot. They wear those ankle bracelets, that are for the ocean, that really we don't know for sure that if they came from the ocean. It just could be more plastic. I digress.
All right, we're switching gears.
Things in the product line that
we were talking about capitalism real quick. Did you see what were your thoughts on Catch's post they made to social media? Did you see that? Catch, the brand, the board Catch.
I did not. And I'm not being evasive because I love Catch and Duke's a good friend of mine. People have asked here. Let me tell you guys the honest truth. On my YouTube channel, on my TV, both in my office and at my camper, I have a Chad Hoover account, which is my personal account. And then I do a guest thing. And Darren will tell you this. One of the things we do is we have to watch content incognito so that our algorithmic patterns don't affect what videos get recommended to us. So coming back from ICAST, I've been on the incognito account, seeing what YouTube would recommend to me if I search the word ICAST, because it's going to recommend something different to me if I search the word ICAST as a guest and an an account that's not logged in versus Chad Hoover Fishing, who's been on YouTube for 15 years interacting with fishing content. So I've not been on Facebook. I've not really been on Instagram other than responding to actual notifications from our post alone. And I really, really haven't been on Facebook. So people have asked me, hey, did you see this or did you see that? And I didn't. So if you want to tell me what it said and get my opinion on it, I mean, I can do that.
Sounds like someone has a case of content creation fatigue. I'm just saying, just throwing it out there.
So Catch, I don't have it in front of me. I don't know if Darren, I'm on my wife's computer right now.
I didn't see it. I have no clue what you're talking about.
Well, essentially, they put a post up. I don't know if it was Facebook, Instagram, both, blasting Bubba, the like Bubba scales.
Oh yeah, I saw
scales,
that.
Bubba, because Bubba came out with a measuring board, which is very similar to Catch, and essentially saying, you know, if you're going to copy, you might as well do something new. I don't know the exact verbatim words, but the first thing that came to my mind was like,
let's go find it.
Capitalism. Like if they can make a product that's similar to yours and they do it, the only thing it's going to do is increase innovation, quicker innovation, lower prices. It's better for the consumer. Now Catch needs to go ahead.
Unless there's IP involved, in which case Catch has a patent on.
Well, if it's patented
with a, you know, precision marking of an aluminum cradle for the purpose of a measurement, like, so they don't, you know, they can't own it, but I don't know what their patents are, but, you know, I did speak to Duke on my way home and he was like, yeah, we got in there and mixed it up on social media, but really the more people that go looking for measuring boards, the better it is for us. So whatever they were saying, they really believed what you said. It's actually better for the sport. It's better for innovation.
It is.
I actually
Let me read it. I got it.
Okay.
Can I read it, Chad?
Yeah.
All right. Catch Products. Another new board just hit the market, but if you're going to copy someone, at least try to bring your own ideas to the fight. Nice try, rookies. We're still the champ for a reason. Precision, durability, tournament legitimacy. If you're serious about winning, don't mess with knockoffs. Still the most accurate bump board in the world. Period. 100% made in the USA.
No lies were told. You know what I mean? Like, I use Bubba. I use their tools. I buy the tools. I've tried to work out a relationship with Bubba because I tell people all the time, I'm not sponsored by companies. I don't use their products because I'm sponsored by them. I'm sponsored by them because I use their products. I buy everything I use first. And so then I can say, so I've been trying to work out a deal with Bubba because their shit is awesome. Their scissors are the bomb. Their electric fillet knives the bomb. Their pliers are the bomb. Their scales are awesome. Austin and I have them on the back of our packs in our chest view of everything that we do. But they didn't reach out to me about a board. And somebody told me after the show that they went into the booth and said, hey, is this tournament approved? And they said, it's been approved by all the major tournament organizations. And I don't know what the hell they're talking about because I've never seen it, didn't even hear about it, didn't go by the Bubba booth because, again, why am I going to go by the Bubba booth when I've spoken to the VP of marketing 5 times? I've sent him a proposal. Hey, give us some product to give away. Give us a discount coupon code for the KBF members and we'll help promote you. I'm not asking you for money. I'm asking for a symbiotic relationship. But when I've done it 3 times and you don't respond, I'm not going to keep, you know, banging my head against the wall. There's no harm, no foul. There's no hard feelings. You still make a great product and I'm still going to keep using it. And I'm going to still keep using it. I could get that stuff free from one company and I buy it from Bubba because you know what? The stuff works. I don't like their leashes. Their leashes are garbage. So I use the Rogue leash to replace the leash. And I've said that. Austin said that. We've talked about that in our videos. But that doesn't mean I know anything about the board. I had no reason to go by their booth. I've already got everything, Bubba, that I need. I didn't hear anything about it. They didn't reach out to me. And maybe they mean it's approved by Major League Fishing for bumping boards for combining it with the scale for catch photo release for boat tournaments, you know, but I would think KBF is still a major tournament series in the kayak fishing space, even though we don't do the trail or any of that anymore, because we still have more competitors sign up every month and all year long than any other organization. We probably have the top 15 or 20 total attendance and payout value kayak tournaments in history, but I get it. We've kind of backed off of that a little bit.
But how many fish measured this past year, Chad, on a board?
Ooh. I mean, just in 2 tournaments, over 100,000 in 2 series, the Challenge Series and or 3 technically, the Torpedo top 10, the Challenge Series, and the Catch 22 was over 150,000.
Yeah. Just Johnny Bennett said it's not listed in the tournaments I get in. Interesting,
right? And and maybe that's not what they're looking for. And they did call it a bump board. So here's one thing that I will say, and I kind of said the same thing to Duke. He's like, "Did you see the bump board, the Bubba board?" I said, "No, but I heard they called it a bump board." He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "A bump board is like you bump the fish against it, you look real quick, cool, and you move on to make sure it's
reference
outside of the slot." Catch is a measuring board. The leaderboard from Yak Attack is a measuring board. But here's what I will tell you: when I did look it up, when I was driving home, when Austin was driving for like a part of the drive, I did get on my phone because people were asking me, "Hey, is the Bubba board KBF approved?" I've never seen one, never touched it. I saw somebody sent me a video of it, but I can't approve something off of a video. But I was like, Catch sent me their original board. I rejected it twice.
Oh, really?
Sent me there. Oh yeah, Duke will tell you this, and so will Luther. I rejected the original leaderboard from Yak Attack, and I was sponsored by them. Luther's like one of my best friends. We literally got into a head-butting, knockdown, drag out over it. He made some changes and he came back. But here's what I'll tell you. I haven't read the language on it, but Catch has a IP on an aluminum cradle measuring board. Again, I'm just going to speak in broad strokes, but also if you zoom in on that board, on the bump end, they've got the reflective surface.
Yeah.
Yak Attack's got a
patent on that.
Got a claim on that for IP. Luther filed it. So here's where the world gets crazy. Cameron's got a patent on the Anchor Wizard for the controlled descent, drag, and all this other stuff.
Right.
So Yak Attack's doing that, but yet Bubba is knocking off their IP. So do we get in the game of like nobody's IP counts or everybody's IP counts, or how does this work anymore? Right. With my PFD,
you have the money to defend it. That's how it works.
My PFD, I told my partners in Vetted, we're not going to even worry about patents. We're going to call it patent pretending. And then in really small letters, it's going to say, we ain't got enough money to fight you guys in court, nor do we have the time. So if you want to try to knock off what we're doing now, you're already behind. Right. But I do think some of this is kind of interesting. It opens up the world of every advertising dollar Bubba spends, potentially getting people into catch, photo, release. And if you just search measuring board for kayak fishing, Catch is going to dominate it. Leaderboard is going to be right behind it. Bubba is going to have a hard time breaking through that. Or if they do, there's going to be comparisons. I had one person send me a picture of it, and they tried to put their fist in it, and they're not a giant person. You don't have big clubs like I got, but their fingers wouldn't even fit across it. A catch board's got about that much. So it's like the whole thing that Yak Attack did was to go wider, so it cradles big fish a little bit better than the catch board. But it's so big that it's like, where do I put this damn thing, right? And then Bubba went, honestly, almost the worst of both worlds. They went aluminum, they went narrower, they went deeper. So any fish over like 18 and a half, 19 inches is going to sit on top of it. So the tail is actually going to sag down. So if you've got a fish that's sitting on top of the cradle, right? If here's the cradle and the fish is sitting on top of it, when you get to the end where the tail is, it's going to lay down. Well, guess what?
You lost some length.
Lost the line cutter. You just lost a 1/4 inch. You do that on 5 fish, that's 1 1/4 inches. So it's going to be interesting, though, to see how it plays out. And the other thing I'll tell you is that 99.9999999% of anybody that has ever tried to make anything anodized in red,
it fades.
It is a nightmare. That shit is pink in a minute. And there ain't nothing wrong with pink. I'm just saying all anodized red is like, for example, I've got the Boondocks cradles from like a long time ago, and then I've got the Sidekick version from Native or from Big Adventures, right? And they make the red piece.
Yeah.
In a week, they're like pink, and they fade. You know what I mean? So red anodized is one of the hardest to score. And then as soon as it gets faded, the silver reflects through. So you get a lot of glare. So I just don't know how much testing they did or how many boards they already have on the ocean coming this way that they hope to get approved, because again, they haven't reached out to the OGs. I can tell you that.
Well, really quick, would you approve it based off of what have you, obviously you haven't touched it, as you see it and as you understand it right now, would you approve it?
Possibly. What I'm worried about is the line not coming up the side, nor having the proper ridge marks to. People know all the stuff that's in these boards that tournament directors and people behind the scenes advise the manufacturers to do that we don't necessarily tell the consumer, because we use those indicators for the purpose of looking for cheaters, right? When the lines marks don't line up, we're looking for parallax. Do they have lines on the upper ridge?
No, that's the thing I noticed too. It's just
that's going to be one thing that's problematic. The other thing that I'm going to have to look at is how easy to manipulate is the fence. If the fence is easy to manipulate, and let's just say that this is the fish, right? Okay. And this is your measuring board. If I can bend that fence over, I'm push that fish back, and you get a line cutter on every fish, that's 1.25 inches in a 5-fish tournament. That could be a problem. So I don't know what the connection mechanism is. I don't know what
it's like screws down here.
I know, but I don't know. Like, are they dissimilar materials? Are there,
the ends are plastic, if I remember. I picked one up. I believe they're plastic, like a polymer.
So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that plastic, I'm going to set it on the hood of my truck for 4 hours. I'm going to push it and see if I can bend it. And if I can bend it, I ain't approving it. Yeah. And I'll just be honest with you. If I've got partnership relationships with companies like Catch and Yak Attack, who've invested heavily in the space, and I know a company is knowingly knocking off their IP, I'm not going to approve it on principle, because that's how partnerships work. You got each other's back. You know what I'm saying? There's capitalism, there's innovation, there's competition, but then there's also cringe. You know what I'm saying? But right now, I don't know that Yak Attack has the moral high ground to stand on for that with. And again, I have not researched this myself, so I'm totally talking out of my ass. I don't know for sure Anchor Wizard has what they think they have. I don't know that Catch has the cradle, the aluminum board. Again, I'm only talking off of speculation and what I think I remember overhearing in conversations. But what I can say is it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yep.
What I can also say is it's awesome that people are getting vested in the sport. They're getting vested in, kayak fishing's dying. Catch photo release is dying. Oh, yeah, it's dying. There was 2 new app companies promoting it. There was Bubba, a big company that's partnered with Major League Fishing, releasing a board. It's not dying, boys and girls. And the more people that promote it, the better it's going to get.
100%. All right, we're switching gears here. Let's talk about some of the new kayaks that hit the floor. And I thought it was interesting. Everyone's like, oh, the FluxJet won. And I'm a fan of the FluxJet, and we'll get into that. But also, the Hammer was never actually in the running, right? And so when you go around and look at the new showcase and you go back there, it was essentially all inflatables and then the FluxJet. I don't think I saw another plastic boat that was in a new product showcase. No. And so, one, tell everybody why would a company not put their kayak in a new product showcase to win an award that they can sell on? And then 2, let's talk about the FluxJet. How legit do you think this is going to be a game changer for shallow water fishing? And then I know you and I and the CEO of Bonafide, you guys walk through the native hammer, which I personally like. So I know I kind of provided all kinds of questions there. Take it where you want to take it.
The Old Town EPDL won Best of Show. Have you ever seen one of them in the wild? I'm asking a question. I have yet
never
to this day to see anybody other than a Old Town pro staffer peddling one of those things. They won Best of Show. Have you ever seen one in the wild? Seth, have you ever seen one?
I know a pro staffer that uses
No,
it.
have you ever seen one in the wild? Meaning somebody that bought one and used it.
Someone that paid full price. I don't know that I have. I'd have to.
You fish a ton of tournaments, Seth. You would see them.
Yeah, but I'm focused. I'm focused on the task.
Anybody else in the comment section? And maybe,
yeah,
no, I've never seen one in the wild personally. I'm not saying that they're not out there. I'm not saying that they're probably better for big water. They're better for up in the Northeast or whatever. Okay. Wilderness Systems wins Best of Show last year with the Tactical Pro. Other than pro staffers and Alex, who gets one to do a review, have you seen anybody with a Tactical Pro? And if so, how many? All I've seen people that bought them complain about the hatches and the cracks and the shapes and all. But that being said, Wilderness Systems couldn't even produce that boat except for pre-order. And in the season, they didn't even have boats ready to go. Right? So Best of Show at ICAST, success does not guarantee, basically. Right? So a little bit of shine has come off the penny with Best of Show. The other problem with Best of Show and the new product showcase is you have to put that boat in the new product showcase and you have to leave it until 2:00 on the last day to pick it up. And companies like Big Adventures are debuting this hammer at the show, and they've only got one in existence. So am I going to put it in my booth where I can talk to people about it, or I'm going to put it in the new product showcase and leave it for the whole week? I'm putting it in my booth. I'm showing it off. I'm using it. So the new product, the Best of Show, is voted on by a bunch of enthusiasts. It can sort of be bought by buyers groups and by rep groups and things like that, you know. And I'm not making any allegations against any particular brands, but when you're company like as big as Johnson Outdoors and you've got deep pockets and you've got a big rep group, you can get a lot of votes. Okay. And again, I'm not making any of these accusations. I'm just saying I've stood in new product showcase and I've overheard things, and I've been going to the show for 15 years. And I just kind of, I've not seen the new product showcase or Best of Show be this big windfall for success. So one, that's number one. Number two, you got to have at least two of something to put one in there, and not putting one in your booth is stupid versus, you know, conceding it to only have one in the new product showcase. So to be honest with you, the Flux Jet was in the new product showcase with a bunch of stuff that looked like overpriced pool toys. I'm not trying to be an asshole, but it looked like some stuff that was like, you know that stuff that AO Fishing, after he left Lojo, started reviewing from Amazon. I bought the biggest dinghy boat from Amazon. Blah. It looked like a bunch of that crap, right? So there was no competition.
I bought a giant yacht to fish out of. Yeah, that's what
Paddle Sports has been dominating, and the guys from Flux Jet did a really good job of a pre-ICAST email campaign generating hype about the motor. And I'll be honest with you, man, I think whether they did it strategically or they did it on purpose, and I'll find out because I'm actually speaking to the owner tomorrow. I think not having the motor and not being able to make it to on water made more people go by the booth, and it made more people check it out in New Product Showcase because it had created this bow wave of hype. So I think it benefited them, and it was the only thing new. So the thing that people vote for in the New Product Showcase, the thing that people vote for Best of Show, is the best thing that people are talking about, right? It's a popularity contest in some cases. So a la Old Town with the EPDL, something new, something different. The Tactical Pro from Wilderness Systems, something new, something different, something with a departure from the norm. And then the Flux Jet. I think the Flux Jet motor has merit. I think trying to get the price point down as low as they did and making the cheaper boat is going to somewhat cheapen up the total concept. It's one of the few things where I think you should have put another $1,000 in the boat, because $39.99 with the motor is what? Holy crap, especially a more powerful motor. But $29.99, they're going to turn a lot of heads. There's going to be a lot of people that buy it. They're going to proof the concept. And honestly, for a turnkey boat with a motor Everything's rigged up. You just basically put the boat in the water, stick your rods in your rod holder, throw a black pack in it, and you're ready to roll.
Whatever battery you have on you. You don't have to buy. If you have
a home run.
12, 24, 36, whatever you can get your hands on.
The linear battery adjustment where you can basically put anything in it from 12 to 60 volts and it automatically adjusts. And it has onboard step up and step down transformers to convert it for your house power. So you don't have to worry about catching shit on fire like most people do. I think it's going to be a home run. I think that it's the only thing at ICAST that was really innovative. Right. I don't think it's going to be a game changer because I just think there's going to be a reluctance for some of the major brands to go after it. But in a perfect world, he licensed that flux jet to be built into the next Bonafide, 100%. The next, the next Hobie, the next Old Town, the next, instead of trying to make his own boat or partner with Vibe to make his own boat, like license that technology as a module that can be plugged into any other boat. The problem is then you got to have the internal wiring. You got to have all that stuff. So I get it. I think it's a step in the right direction. It's going to be interesting to see how the boat part plays out. And it's going to be interesting to see if his claims about the way the impeller guard prevents uptake of grass and things like that is going to be true, because if it is, he's got a home run on his hands.
Yeah. So he did say, and I actually went to the booth because they actually made you sign up to do the own water testing, and they only had like maybe 15. So I was like, boom, I'll be first. And I was getting excited about it. And then, hey, they got delayed in shipping. And there's, hey, we're going to fly you guys out to Sacramento, test this thing out. I was like, Chad, you get the same text message? He's like, yeah. I was like, hey, I walked in the booth. You guys serious about flying us out? He's like, yeah. And so hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll get that email. We'll actually put this thing to test because I'm going to hop in that bad boy. I'm going to run it through the shallowest weeds and everything that I can. If it, like Chad says, you can just hit that thing in reverse and blow it all out the back and keep on rolling. I can't tell you how many comments. I can't tell you how many comments have told me I was going, literally, Chad, I was going to buy this and now I'm on hold. I probably read 15 comments that they are now on hold on the purchase sale until they get more information about the FluxJet.
All right. See what happens. Let me comment on the other thing you asked me. You asked me about the hammer. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in the Big Adventures family. I'm on the Bonafide side, but I know Shane Benedict, the designer of that boat, really well. I know Hans. They also work together. And I have been very, 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 very opposed to pedal drives. I bought the P127. I used it. I loved it. I didn't like the fact that when I didn't want the pedal drive, it was right there, taking up my whole cockpit. I didn't like the fact that I had to do all this crazy crap with the damn pins and the little push things. And if I hit a log, I can break one. I just didn't like all that, right? I didn't like the wet ride. But I also didn't like the fact that every pedal drive had to be a boat that was so big you couldn't paddle it, right? I also don't like the fact that the entire industry is migrating to these big boats. And again, point the gun at myself. I'm right there as responsible, which is why I'm about to go in the other direction and start promoting paddlecraft and lighter weight. And we got to move in that direction again, because if we don't, we're leaving that gateway entry-level boat to nothing but Bass Pro Shop and Alibaba boats, right? We need some of the premium manufacturers to start making those boats again, because that's the core, like, essence of kayak fishing. I still believe that. I still like to get my RS-117, 2 little tackle bags, and a couple of rods and drag it through the woods and go fishing. Whether you believe that or not, I don't give a flying flip. You can type it out all you want to. You can stick it up your ass sideways. I don't care. I love that kind of fishing. I just don't film it as much, because what I also like to do is that's my fishing. So when I'm fishing that way, I don't want to have 12 cameras, 18, because guess what? It's not simple if I got to put batteries and cords and cameras. And so I do that a lot more, but it's my fault for not promoting it. I fished 310 days last year. Probably 70 of them were in that RS-117 with like one little track pack or one Ziploc bag of lures and 2 rods and the paddle. No motor, no graphs, no nothing. So I think we've got to go back in that direction. The reason I'm going around my elbow to get to my back pocket talking about this is, What I like about the hammer is it is a little bit of a pendulum swing back in the right direction, meaning I can look at that hole, and I hate it when people say this, but I got a qualified eye, 30 plus years experience. I'm an aeronautical engineer. I'm not just saying this as the fat redneck you guys see play on TV. I'm literally an expert in this field. Been doing it for a long time. So I can look at stuff and tell what it's going to do. This boat looks like it's going to have a lower initial stability. What that means is this boat is rounded on the bottom like so, right? So when you sit it like this, not as much boat is touching the water, so it's going to be a little rockier. That also means there's less wetted surface. Wetted surface creates drag, or coefficient of friction is the technical term, which makes the boat slower. Yes, it feels good to us big dudes to sit down and it go, me sit down, me feel stable. But a boat that is basically like this, where there's only a percentage of it touching, and then when you lean over, you get into that secondary stability. That is not normal. That is not the norm for the people that are used to native Titans, Titan X's, Slayers for the last 10 years. It's not normal for what people are used to. So I love the fact that Shane pushed this design back in the direction of performance. I love the fact that you can pick that pedal drive up, fold it forward out of the way, by the way. That new pedal drive is like, I hope they put one in a Bonafide. And I didn't say that before, right? But the fact that it comes up, folds forward and stows, and you pull a pin and take the whole thing out, what? I can already tell you, I want to make a forward-facing transducer arm that goes in that hole where you can fold it forward and stow it. And then when you get where you're going, you drop it down in the hole and you got a little handle right there between your leg. Bruh, what? And I don't know that if they're working on that. If they're not, hey, Big Adventures, if you're not working on that, your boy wants like a Sniper Marine kind of a thing right between your legs that plugs in there, and you take it out and stick it on the side and you trade it with the pedal drive, right? You have a place for the pedal drive to stow up and backward, bro. I'm going to shut up about that because they probably like, Chad, shut the frick up. But anyway, that pedal drive is badass. It does the one thing that made me hate pedal drives, that it's always in my way.
Yeah.
So the fact that it folds
up deck space you have now. Yeah.
I'm a big dude. I also hated how that damn scupper with the little plastic thing on, I had to sit there and fight the bungees on it, and it constantly coughed at me. And like, this got a perfect little cover seal on it now, right? You know, like I hated that little scupper hole in there that sounded sloppy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it just was nasty. It sounded like this girl Missy in playing basketball in high school that was just sloppy going down the court. Anyway, so
pretty specific, Chad.
I like where this hammer is going with the underslung weight of the battery center mast of the boat.
Oh, yeah.
I love the fact that the seat slides, but it's center mass of the volume of the boat. I love the lower profile control for the rudder steering. I mean, there wasn't anything to not like about it. The crowned hatch that integrated into the bow. I've always liked Native's front handle. That's a grip grab rail and a handle at the same time.
Oh, yeah, the rubber on it. Yeah.
I literally love that thing. So, again, there's been some misses with Native in the past, and I'll just come right out and say it, and I probably shouldn't. So here's your pedal drive, right? Your pedal drive shaft sticks down below the boat so far. So this distance right here is how much you got to work with. When they've designed this pedal drive back in the day for the old propels, the boats weren't this damn thick, right? So what's happened is the boats got bigger and bigger and thicker, but they had already had all the money in this tooling cost. So they couldn't make this shaft longer, which is what they needed to do to be able to lower the deck or raise the deck, I'm sorry, so that the shaft is longer, so that when you're pedaling, your heels don't hit and you have enough volume that the Natives aren't wet. Natives have historically been wet. So now the deck height is raised, the pedal drive is higher, the seat is proportionate correct, so that when you pedal, you don't hit your heels and you don't have a wet ride. So you don't have a wet ride. You've got a performance-oriented hull, a new, higher, more efficient prop drive. Like, man, you know, they don't pay me to promote Native, but they can't keep me from buying one. So I might just buy one and use the damn thing on my own. So then I can go twist their arm. Hey, we got to do a bona fide version of something like this.
Mm-hmm.
But of the stuff at the show, it was my game changer. It was my best of show because Native's proven, Big Adventures is proven, the manufacturability is proven, the distribution's proven. So there's no doubt it's not going to come to market. I still have some questions about FluxJet. I have questions about the reliability of the electronics integration. I have questions about the throttle. I have questions about the impeller and the jet and the intake when you get it on Gunnersville with some eelgrass, or when you ride over some hydrilla, or right? But I don't have any questions about that hammer. Like, I go into things looking with a very critical eye. Darren and I are talking. He's like, what's wrong with it? So we've learned each other. He's like, what's wrong with it? I'm like, man, I kind of wish the seat was a little bit higher so that the seat height to pedal ratio was downhill. But the first thing I thought of was like, well, that's what seat cushions are for. Right. Hello. Hey, now you got a seat cushion. The height's right. You're everything. So I really liked that boat. I like a couple of the small problems that Native fixed, like the cover for the pedal drive. I like the pedal drive folding forward and out of the way. And it was just smooth. We didn't get to do on water because that's the only hammer that exists in the world, right? So they couldn't put it out there and run the risk of somebody falling in it, breaking it, cracking it, whatever. But I sat in it in the booth during setup, put that pedal drive in place and pedaled it and was like, ooh.
You heard it here first, folks. Chad just got excited about a pedal drive. He's about to take the tax.
It solved the two things that I hated: the stow ability and the wet ride. Right? So oh man.
I'm telling you what, I've been in a P127 for a couple of years now. It's time for me to do a switch. I'm going to try to get my hands on one.
I'm going to try to help you so that I need
to get my hands in one. And then Chad and I will just trade kayaks. And we'll
like, hey, Darren, you want to trade my XTR 130 for that hammer for the weekend? You know what I mean? I'll be like,
here we go. We can do the trip. Hey, here, this kind of new. Chad and I in October are doing a salmon fishing trip up in Michigan. So we'll be trading, maybe trade off some kayaks there, Chad.
Yeah, we could do that.
See what happens.
We could do like a kayak version of wife swap, but we'll call it yak swap. Like, I got to fish out of your kayak and you got to fish out of mine. And then we do a behind the scenes like review of it.
Yeah. Seth just cringed a little bit on that analogy, but I like
open your mouth a little bit.
Y'all can get in my Hobie. That's fine. Just hop in the Hobie.
See, it's funny. The Hobie dropped their inflatable kayak and I put that video out to like, oh, people would be interested. Nope. No one cares. Nobody cared.
Inflatable. You can't do it. I mean, I can't do it.
Everyone, their mom's coming out with inflatable kayaks right now. I mean, it must be really easy to bring one to market because I can't tell you how many new ones that I saw. But it was interesting because I was sitting in the Hobie booth and I had a conversation with other guys there, and he's like, "Hey, we were walking around and saw a bunch of inflatable kayaks with pedal drives inside." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "We own the patent. I'm pretty sure we own the patent on that." Because their engineers at Hobie were like, yeah, we 99% sure we own the patent on that. So it's going to be interesting. Chad's saying no. They're saying yes.
I'm going to say this. I got a lot of friends that work at Hobie. I like Hobie eyewear. There wasn't actually a Hobie booth at ICAST. There was a Hobie eyewear booth. I've been using their glasses. Their holes are actually pretty badass. I've got a pack of them right here. They sent me a really cool like care package, a little love. They make great stuff in their glasses.
That's
so
cute.
They needed something to go in the booth. But and I'm not trying to harpoon Hobie when I say this, but look, when you've had the problems that Hobie's had, bringing an inflatable kayak to ICAST is like the cheerleaders on the losing team. Nobody's listening. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like the cheerleaders when you're down by 45 points and they're like, rah, rah, go team. And the people, even the people on the stands on that side are just going, just shut up. There's 3 minutes left on the clock and we're down by 45 points. And our quarterback has thrown more completions to the other team than he has to ours. And so honestly, if you can't bring the actual thing that makes you who you are to the show, I personally believe you should have just not brought anything. But that's just me, you know.
Yeah. Caro said even Aldi sold on inflatable kayak this summer.
I got in the boat, and it's an improvement of the normal iTrek. The A-Trails are cool. Yep. The seat is cool. All I'm saying is, when you built yourself on the PA, the Outback, the Drive, the Mirage, all that kind of stuff, and you only bring an inflatable because that's what you got. Again, it just seems like the cheerleaders on the losing team. Nobody's listening. So
I will say I did get on the 10, and it is like a go-kart on the water. It's a ton of fun.
It's fun as shit.
It's fun.
It will literally whip around. Even with my fat ass, it was fun.
And he said you could put an NK 300 on it and go 10 to 14.
They got the anchor mount. They got the motor mount built in. They did put the anchor point so you don't got to glue it on yourself. Again, I'm an inflatable guy. You and I've talked about it. I'm going to bring an inflatable concept to the market in the next 18 months to 2 years. But it'll be a real innovation, not just another 3-chamber drop stitch with a seat on it. Of the inflatables out there, I think Hobie's got the best. They've got the top run rudder to where you can drop it in. They've got this thing where you can move it over from 2 positions on each side, drop your transducer in. They got a motor mount. Again, if it was in the mix of a pro angler, even if it was nothing new, your pro angler, your your Outback, then hey, we also got this thing, it would have been better received. But it's not a secret that Hobie's been struggling. It's not a secret that they've had their challenges. And so I just think, again, bringing an inflatable to market was a lot like the cheerleaders, like over enthusiastic on the losing team, when you really should just go ahead and sit down and put your pom-poms up and get ready for the next game when you bring your A game,
Yeah. But if you're independently wealthy and you want a good time on the water, how much are those things? 30? Were they 37?
Oh my gosh.
36? No, maybe 26. I'm not sure.
And look,
I can't go looking right now.
I'm going to say
look for me.
I am not the negative guy usually. I really try to be as objective as I can. But here's where I'm at if I'm a Hobie fan. If I'm a Hobie, because there are some hardcore, die-hard Hobie people that have fought the damn good fight, right? I'm going to be mad as a wet hornet if I've got a Hobie Pro Angler that I've been waiting on a replacement drive for 2 years, and I can't get one, and the dealer can't get one to replace it, and now you're selling a new boat that's got that 180 drive in it. It's not the 360, but it's got the 180 in it, but I can't even get a replacement part for my motor. So if I'm Hobie, if you're listening, Hobie. Oh,
they're listening.
Send your replacement drives out to the people that have already spent $5,000 on a Hobie that are now motorizing their boat because they can't get a pedal drive. Like, of the reasons that I think that maybe the Yak Attack motor is genius is that they made it work with a Hobie, because there's a lot of people out there with a Hobie right now that don't have a pedal drive. But I think there's better motor options that they've already probably put on that boat. But again, from a perception standpoint and a brand management standpoint, I'm a fan of the sport. I don't want to see people failing. It's not good for my sport. It's not good for our sport. But you got to take care of your dealers, and you got to take care of that consumer that's been waiting on that pedal drive, instead of making a new one and then selling it with an inflatable for a price that's pretty. It's sporty, man. It's up there.
It's definitely sporty. I don't know the price. I forget. I slightly remember them saying 36. It's in my video. I tried to find it. All I'm seeing is a picture of is the videos that I posted on it.
It's up there.
Anybody know what it is? If you know what it is, you found it, go and throw it in the comment section. All right, Chad, let's land this.
I can say this. I remember it being a whistle dam price. And when I worked at retail, I called it a whistle dam. Somebody would pick something up and say, how much is this thing right here? And you're like, $300. Like, damn, and they would set it down. So,
all right, we got a price here, $2,900 for the 10, and I think it's higher. Johnny Bennett, thanks, man. This is fun. Bassel, NH, New Hampshire, native bona fide is where I think I'll be staying throughout my kayak career. Well, my man. All right, Chad, that was a lot about ICAST. Any of you have any questions for? I'm not necessarily like stopping the plane. If you guys want to continue the conversation, have a specific question, throw that in the comment section. I star it whenever we finish a thought. I get back to that question. We'll get it answered for you. And so we'll keep the train going. However, Chad, we're going to switch gears a little bit because you and I have been working on something we keep hinting about. And so I don't want it to kind of be off people's radar because we made a huge milestone today. We've been working on this for months. And so.
No, you've been working on it for months. I've been working on it for decades.
So. I've been working on curriculum for months. So where are we at on KFAST? If you never heard about KFAST before, Kayak Fishing and Advanced Safety Training is one of the businesses Chad and I are starting together. And I just threw over to him 158 pages of curriculum to review tonight. And so he's going to be up late and way into the morning. But Chad, unpack it for everyone if they haven't heard about it, where we're at with it, when people can expect to get their hands on it and what it looks like.
So we're creating a 3, maybe 4-tier system where we have a basic safety training. We have an advanced safety training. And then we have a guide certification. And then above guide is going to be an instructor certification so you can certify other guides. From there, we're going to develop a outfitter curriculum where we teach outfitters what they need to know to be a certified outfitter. I've seen shops that put too much weight in a boat, that over rig it. I've seen shops that put trolling motors on there and they got 12 gauge wire running the whole length of the boat. And I'm like, what the? So that is electronics, weight, and PFDs are our biggest issues. I'm going to say this, and Darren can back this up. Long time I've been in this industry. I've started sending out messages to manufacturers. Hey, I need to talk to you about weight capacity. He'll tell you there was a couple of heavy hitters that came up to me in the aisle like, hey man, I got that email that you sent and it got forwarded to so-and-so. And then so-and-so didn't want to really say anything. So they talked to me. Can we really get together and talk about this? Because we got to figure out what you're asking. I'm like, no, you don't. You know what I'm asking. You just don't want to answer it. I'm going to hold your feet to the fire, and we're going to establish a standard. We're going to establish a standard for how weight capacity is calculated, how it's advertised, and whether it's bullshit or not. And you're going to get a KFAST certification, or we're going to say, if you don't see the KFAST certification, they didn't pass the KFAST, right? But
and so who knows what they're doing?
Those are the tiers. That's what we're doing. I've reached out to almost all of the major manufacturers. I did this about 2 years ago already. I'm going back through and getting some of the new players and some of the people that have had a change of regime, and we're going to get a standard in place. But what KFAST is
real quick before you move on, I'm overhearing a conversation that Chad's having with this individual, and Chad's like, yeah, you're the last one. I'm waiting for you. Yeah. And if you don't get it to me, we're moving forward. So, it was interesting. He's twisting the screws, folks. It was fun to watch.
Is it a big brand? Big brand?
Yeah, you would definitely know.
The biggest. And it was awkward. He was kind of trying to do the head nod thing. Like, can I talk to you over here? I'm like, no, this is my partner in KFAST right here. You can talk to him right here in front of me. And it's like, I know, hey man, no, bro, I am not playing this game. You are going to kill people if you keep lying about weight capacity. If you keep putting asterisks and all this bullshit, just say, this is the weight capacity. This is the usable capacity. That's it. Standard.
Yep.
You don't go look at boats and one of them's got this sticker and the other one's got this one. They all got a yellow sticker that says, this is the usable capacity. This is how many people. This is how much weight. We've got to get that standard in paddle sports, because when somebody sees it and they go, 350-pound capacity, first of all, they underguess their own weight. I only weigh 240. Bullshit, you're like 300. Okay, boom, there's 50 pounds. My black pack only weighs XX amount. If whatever you think your black pack weighs, it probably weighs 2.6 times that. Whatever your extra gear that you carry weighs.
Chad.
No, I did it. I weighed like 300 black packs at 2 different national championships. The average guess was like 32 pounds. The average weight was 71.
Oh,
Bro,
wow.
it was a ballpark. It was less than half. So we underguess our weight. We underguess the weight of our gear, while simultaneously the manufacturers overestimating the capacity. So there's a double whammy of they're overdoing it and we're underguessing and we're overloading these boats. And it's going to kill people. In fact, I firmly believe in some of our recent incidents, it has killed people. They leaned over to grab something. The boat flipped because they were over capacity. They didn't have their PFD on. They succumbed to cold water. And I hate seeing a picture of a kayak and the PFD is bungeed to the back of the seat. And they found that kayak and they found the dude 2 days later. People don't know this, but I actually did search and rescue the first half of my career in the Navy. On my other PFD, you'll see my patch right here a lot of times. I did search and rescue. I did way more search and recovery. I can't tell you how many times we picked up bodies in the ocean, in the Elizabeth River, in the James River, off the coast of Virginia from stupid accidents. And we had to fly this body back. And I'm sitting there looking at a 20-year-old girl, a 19-year-old boy, 2 buddies that drowned, a dad that swam out trying to help 2 kids that drowned. And those are not things we're going to be able to completely solve. But like this year, we had somebody paddle out in a canoe out of Gunnersville in February, a dad with 2 kids on board, flipped the boat, killed all 3 of them. Like, come on, man. And I just feel like if we get more aggressive about promoting the safety, but at the same time, we throw a little fun and a little humor. I call it the Mary Poppins effect. A spoonful of medicine helps, a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. And we provide benefits for you completing the courses. Once you get advanced certified and you recommend it, you can make affiliate money off of it. Is it going to feel like an MLM? Yeah. It's not going to be a pyramid because you don't got to buy anything after you buy in. But
it's straight affiliate.
It's going to be an affiliate opportunity because we want you guys to be able to monetize, making people safe so that there's an incentive for it, that we grow people then to advanced. And I'm just going to tell you, I'm just going to pull the veil back and tell you this. The advanced safety training is actually going to be really high level kayak fishing tips masquerading as extra safety. It's going to be some extra safety shit, but it's going to be some like how to anchor to catch more fish, where to anchor to catch more fish, how fish positioning works. So you're going to put yourself in the wrong spot, but hey, here's where you should be so you can catch more fish. It's going to be about catching more fish. And so we're launching that because, one, I have been banging my head against the wall for almost 16 years trying to get the ACA to do a course. I went and got certified myself. I came back from the course. I called Darren. I was like, I know we've been talking about this, but we're doing it. I just went to this safety course. I actually have the information on my desk right here. And this shit is so basic and it's so simple and it is so not comprehensive. Oh, we don't want to talk about motors because we're the ACA. Kayak anglers are using motors. We don't want to talk about anchoring because what? Like, I grew up in the South when everybody was like, we can't talk about birth control. We need to talk about abstinence. Meanwhile, every third girl in my high school class is swole up like a tick. And I'm like, well, this abstinence shit ain't working. How about we talk about some birth control? Because I don't want no more Missies. And Missy, this is the 3rd time she's been pregnant. She's a junior. So let's talk about some birth control. So to me, this is the same thing. We've not talked about it. Oh, we don't want to talk about the dangers of kayak fishing because we don't want to deter people. We don't want to make people think kayak fishing's too dangerous. No, it is dangerous. It's dangerous if you're stupid, right? It's dangerous if you're ignorant. But if you got a combination of stupid and ignorant working together, that's the recipe for ending up on the news.
So walk me through the vision, walk me through the pricing structure, what we're trying to do here, because there is something like this somewhat available now.
Yes, and It's outrageous. So,
it's
so here's what
it is outrageous.
What's available is what I call the 3 E's. 3 E's. It's elite, it's expensive, and it's exclusive. So, and it's hard, right? We want to make it the 3 A's. We want to make it available, we want to make it affordable, and we want to make it attainable, right? If you don't want to be guide, don't go to guide. But if you're guiding people in a fishing kayak, you should have some of these basic safety things under your belt. You should be able to teach the people that you're taking fishing. So there's going to be a guide program. So if you guide other people, I think every pro staffer for every major fishing kayak organization should at least be advanced certified. And we're going to lobby for that really hard, because I see pros putting out dumb shit all the time. And people go, oh, well, he's a pro for Bonafide, or he's a pro for Big Advent, or, for Old Town, or he's a pro for whatever. He must know. No. He knew a guy who knew a guy, and the dealer said, he's the most social media followers in my area. I need him on my pro staff. Right. And now he's like been kayak fishing for 3 years and telling people, oh, don't worry about the wire gauge for your motor. Oh, you don't need a PFD. You just need to have it on board. Just no. So the vision is to increase the dialogue around safety, to make safety part of the conversation of our culture, to bring back like the boondoggle style meetings where we all used to get together to be a community instead of getting together to compete. Right. Doing rigging competitions and seminars and sharing, right? So that's a big part of it. The other part of it is we have to raise money. We have to raise money, just like what I said about the ACA, so that we can take out ads promoting safety, so that we can lobby for rules to be changed. Like, for example, I think the rule of these lights being red and green on a kayak is the dumbest shit ever, even when we got a motor, because we're still a restricted mobility vessel. But some jackleg somewhere decided, oh, it's motorized, it's got to have a red and green light and a white stern light, and nobody has had the resources to go to Capitol Hill, to go to the places where it makes sense to fight against this dumb shit. And so I tried that with KBF, but we really need to be a safety organization with safety foundation, with safety statistics, to be able to go knock those doors down, to be able to limit the restrictions that are put on kayak anglers, to get our voice heard. So we're going to be a little bit of the ASA of kayak fishing. We're going to be a little bit of the ACA, the American Canoe Association of kayak fishing. But what we're going to create is a community feel again. But that community feel is based in a rising tide raises all ships. We can make some money off of it, so we can create the resources that we need to raise awareness. We can partner with brands where they can benefit from it. Will you also benefit from it? Similar to what I've done with KBF, but more that you can also benefit. When you promote joining KFAST and getting your certification, once you're advanced, you get a significant commission, not this bullshit affiliate stuff like, oh, join our program and you get 3% of net proceeds after advertising minus this, and you get like
it's true. It's freaking true.
And we've lived it. Darren and I have lived it. So we're going to offer an affiliate program that we would want to be part of, because actually we are going to be part of it. We're going to do the affiliate program just like you're going to do the affiliate program, right? That's how we're going to get paid as employees of the company. And then we want to create, again, a standard that we can hold companies to. This is a KFAST approved PFD. This is a KFAST approved rigging recommendation. Infographics that go out, the top 3 things you need to focus on. We're going to build an app where we can have float plans that are easy to do. Not, where's that damn float plan again? And you got to go dig it up, and you don't have an easy way to share it, and you don't have a way to notify people, and there's not a, like, I want a float plan where you set an alarm in there, and if you don't come back, your secondary next of kin hasn't been notified. It notifies somebody else. Hey, Seth has not come back, and that email goes to Darren. And Darren's like, oh, I think he's out building duck cages or some shit. Well, call his wife and find out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we're building a actual safety organization. And Darren, I didn't get your permission to do this, but since we're partners, I'm going to throw this out there. Today is the 22nd. With KBF, I do this thing called the Catch 22 Challenge. I haven't sat down and gone so far as to create some giveaways, and the numbers are lower than they were last year, but I want to seed some folks getting involved in this. We're going to do a thing called the Fast Pass, where you can pay for basic through advanced, through guide, through instructor. And that's going to be somewhere in that $400 to $475 for the whole thing range at a discount. And again, when I say affordable, the ACA is like $600 for one certification level for one discipline. And you got to do that for every little module. And you got to travel, and you got to spend money on lodging, and again, we're still going to support the ACA. I'm an ACA instructor. I'm going to keep working towards getting more, because the better I can be, the better I can be for KFAST. So I want to give away 2 of those. I want to give away a KBF lifetime membership for everybody. Right now.
All right, give me a second.
I'm going to pay for that out of my pocket. So I want to give away 2 KFAST Fast Passes, and I'm going to give away a KBF lifetime membership. So that's 2 $475 values and a $650 value. And here's how I want to do it. I only want people who are participating in the Catch-22 challenge to put KFAST Catch-22 in the comments and let you pick the winner. So
it's got to be KFAST to do it randomized. Just KFAST?
Sure.
If you put KFAST in the comment.
And I'm going to validate that you're in the Catch-22, that you're signed up, that you're already participating. So if you're not, you ain't going to win. You might get your name called tonight, but comment KFAST if you're in the Catch-22. And if you're not, go get signed up, damn it, because we're using that to do, good things for veterans and homeland heroes. And I'm going to double down on promoting that now that I've gotten over this health shit I've been dealing with behind the scenes. And I think we make this a monthly thing. I give you something to give away on your show, even if I'm not here. And I love the fact that there are members of KBF that are vested for life. So actually, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll open this up to everybody that is a KBF member. You don't even have to be in the Catch-22 challenge. If you're a KBF member, we're going to give these 3 away. And then all you'll have to do to claim it is sign up for the Catch-22 challenge for $22. And I'm going to give you a $475
Come on.
2 KFAST packages and 1 lifetime membership. And so that lifetime membership comes with the premium benefits every single year. A lot of people are like, why should I join KBF? It's $25 or $50, and you get $400+ in gift certificates right out of the gate. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, we do special promotions with brands all the time. We give away $1,200, $1,500 a month in prizes. I just haven't done a good enough job of promoting that. So I've got to get better at doing that. And I'm planning on spending the dog days of summer while it's hot, getting all that cleaned up, leaning into that. So yeah, let's give away the KBF lifetime membership first. And then, I hate when you do the prize, that's the more expensive prize at the end, and the people that got chosen before, like, damn it. You know what I mean? So let's give away the lifetime membership first. I'll just let you pick.
Well, really quick.
Go ahead.
We'll randomize this. I'm going to let people, because we have 80 people live right now, but I don't see nearly that many entries. So I'm going to give it a little bit of time. Guys, all you got to do is write KFAST in the comment section, and you could be a winner tonight. But Chad, real quick, because I got a couple questions coming in about KFAST. Right? What's the pricing structure? Also, this just isn't the Chad and Darren show, right? We have an advisory board members that's reviewing our curriculum that we go to. Can you walk us through why we still get some of these KFAST entries coming through and KBF entries coming through?
Yeah. So what we did is I went out and I found like literally the who's who of kayak fishing, practically royalty, like the people that are the world champions, business leaders, curriculum developers, former Coast Guard officers. And when I say it's the most comprehensive board ever, it's not like the KBF advisory board that I put together. That's a bunch of KBF enthusiasts and they're vested in KBF and they help me out there. I learned from that process, man, that's way better than being an island and making all the decisions on my own. And so I've got a former, Coast Guard regional director. I've got a 2-time whitewater world champion, the production company owner for my TV shows, got his own channel, Facing Waves and Paddle TV, Luther Cyphers from Yak Attack, and now a damn senator. And I could go on. We have got a really solid, core group of people that are going to be the steering committee for helping us move this thing forward. And it's not just a money grab, but it's a way to quantify our space, put some ad dollars back into promoting it. But let's just say Seth gets qualified as an advanced guy. He decides to start promoting it. He makes a post. He's got, 18,000 followers, and he gets 150 people to sign up. He could make $1,500 in a weekend. There's not another affiliate program out there like this. And it's also something you can feel good about, because just like what I'm doing with Vetted when we launched the PFD, we're also going to donate, and we got to determine this now because we got to get profitable first, but we're going to donate a portion of the proceeds also to Heroes on the Water and other veterans and Homeland Heroes mental health and suicide prevention organizations. That way, when you join KFAST, your life's not the only one that you save. And so I've been behind the scenes trying to figure all of these things out by myself for 3 years, and somewhat accomplishing stuff and somewhat spinning my wheels. And so when Darren came on board and expressed interest in this, it was literally like that, like a dude walked up to you in the desert with a glass of water, like, oh my God. and this dude matches, he doesn't just match my hustle. Like, dude makes me tired watching him. And I love that because, when you surround yourself with people that hold themselves to a certain standard, it makes you step your game up, right? And so that's what I've loved about working with Darren so far, and looking forward to working with this dude forever. So that's the foundation, is that we're creating an organization where not only can we make some money off of it, because let's face it, we're all in this game to make a living, or we're doing something to make a living, but you can now take the platform that we're building, the work that we're doing, and by sharing it and getting people in your following, your communities, your clubs to participate, you can monetize it as well. And I want you to make money off of it. I don't look at it like we're losing the 15, 25, or 50%. So I'll just break it down. Advanced, we're going to pay a 15% commission. That's huge. That's double the best one out there.
It's like $100, right? That's our price point right now.
Yeah. Tackle Warehouse, the highest one they pay, except maybe some private ones that we don't know about, is about 7%. And that's 7% of net. We're going to pay 15% of retail, right? So whatever the course that the person you refer signs up for, you're going to get 15% of that. When you get advanced, it's going to go to 25. And then when you get guide, it's going to go to 50. Now, here's the good part. You want to create a small business for yourself. You want to make a living kayak fishing, and you've been struggling trying to get sponsors and make some money tournament fishing and trying to figure it out, because I get this question all the time. You get instructor certified and you get 10 guys together to become a guide, and you do the course that weekend, you make 100% of the course curriculum price as a instructor. So, I mean, find something better and tell me what it is, and I'll make ours better than that, because we are going to be the best community-driven, angler-driven, participant-driven business in the game. And unlike multi-level marketing pyramid schemes where you got to constantly keep buying shit, once you're qualified and you're certified, it's a $15 membership to stay in the updating curriculum, to keep all the member benefits for the year forever. You don't have to pay to certify. You don't have to pay to recertify. There will be recertifications that you'll have to do to say that you've met the continuing education, but you won't have to pay for it. You'll just have to do it. So I don't think that there's anything like this in the sport. I don't know that there's anything like this in the world. And I'm actually pretty proud of what we've come up with together for like 4 months of 3,000 hours on the phone, hours sitting together when Darren came down to create content. We went night fishing 3 nights in a row, and this was 85% of the conversation interspersed between, oh, I got one, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. Or honestly, mostly it was Darren hung up in a tree. Yeah. That kind of broke up the conversation. But
that was one time.
I mean,
I don't think you. All right, twice. It was twice, maybe 3 times. One time you got it on video. Chad, what's the pricing structure? You haven't even shared kind of where we're looking at right now. Obviously, it can change because we're still
looking at $25 for the base, and I'm working to establish two $25 like gift certificates from participating sponsors. So that way, when you buy in for 25, you get 50 back pretty much immediately. Advanced, we're looking at $100. We could call it $99 to play that game. It's $100, right? Guide somewhere in the 250 range, and an instructor another 200. If you buy the K-Fast Pass or the Fast Pass, it's going to be basically $475. So about a 35% discount if you buy the whole thing at once. I think that's what we looked at, all the apps that were out there, all the brands, and like if you do the subscription thing, if you pay for the year, it's this much, but if you pay monthly, it's this much. And we just took that average of like Strava and like the top 10 apps in the world and said, okay, they average about 30% discount if you pay for the whole year. So let's do 35% if you pay for the whole course. And then it's a great gift. It's something you can buy for your buddy. If you got a dumbass buddy that's like a liability, you can be like, hey, bro, here's the K-Fast Fast Pass, because I don't want to be dragging your ass out of the river in the middle of the night and go tell your wife and kids that, you ain't with us anymore because you were a moron, right? So wives can buy it for husbands. Husbands can buy it for wives. Brothers can buy it for
kids.
Each other.
100%.
It's just going to be one of those things where, in the wintertime, it's going to be the really cool thing to do when you're, I don't know what this is like, but I know Yankees know what this is like. When you're holed up for the winter, this is going to be something awesome that you can do and that you can share and that you can talk about. So, yeah.
And there's also going to be modules, right? And there's going to be a way to show off that you are, in fact, certified. Can you talk a little bit about that? And then we'll do this giveaway and call it a night.
We're going to do some patches and badges and certification icons for your Facebook page, headers for your Facebook page, decals. The decals they're actually pretty badass. Like, I got to give a big shout out to Mark Fainer up in New York. The dude is a wizard. This is what we're looking at with the basic logo, that black, white, and orange for safety. We've got a couple of different versions that we're going to get you guys to vote on. The orange inner circle with the black outside. It's K-Fast with Kayak Fishing Advanced Safety Training is what K-Fast stands for. Mm-hmm. If you look at that little logo right there on the T, that is what we're going to call the safe T. So it's safety, the safe T with that box around it. So it's an octagon. So it works like a stop sign. So when you see that safe T, it makes you stop and think for a minute. So when Darren and I start putting our videos out, we have the little safety that comes up and slides over and wiggles just to get your attention. That means there's something safety coming. It's kind of like when you're in elementary school and the teacher knocked on the desk. That means you need to listen. So you'll start seeing that safety. The advanced logo is badass, right? It just literally has that badass look to it. It's red, black, and white. And then when you get into the guide, it's got that kind of gold standard looking. You're basically now you're guide certified. And then when you get into the instructor, it's like you're the baddest dude in the deal. You're the grand poobah. That's kind of going to take on that black belt look. So it's like dark black and blue, and it's the K-Fast guide instructor. So that's the highest certification you can get, and that way it should look like a black belt. And so we're going to do some of these like PVC patches, stuff like this. That's like high quality, PVC 3-dimensional type stuff. We're going to do the decals for your boats. We're going to do hats, T-shirts, stickers, all of that stuff so that you can get out and wave the flag, give you the resources that you need.
Normalize this stuff.
And when somebody asks you about it, you can tell them. Now, our call to action is going to be, when you promote K-Fast, your life's not the only one you can save, because by teaching other people, you can save their life, but also because we're donating to charity, you can save people's life. But we're going to brand this thing Learn with the word earn contrasted in it, because you can actually earn while you learn, and you can earn when other people learn that you bring into the fold. So it's going to be a really cool, easy, linear path to, I hate to say this because it's going to sound like one of them damn Tim Robbins things, but to financial independence. You can literally buy gear. Like, I really do plan on doing something where people say, hey man, I'm on disability. I can't make that much money because I've got a military rating. Cool. whatever you earn, we'll take that money and we'll apply it to gear. We'll call up our sponsor buddies and say, hey, Billy Smith from Crooked Elbow, Arkansas has got a $2,000 credit with us. What can we get with $2,000? So we buy him $2,500 to $3,000 worth of product because our dollars go further. He gets gear. He's happy. We're happy. Sponsors are happy. And that's the way that we plan on closing the ecosystem to where we get more high-end premium sponsors on board, both endemic that are in the sport and non-endemic. You know what I mean? Like, I firmly believe we can get some non-endemic sponsors on board with this to help out, to help us move the needle, to promote this thing. So yeah, that's kind of the short, super long version of it. So let's give some stuff.
Let's give some stuff away. Someone asked when is it coming out? Right now, Chad and I have been going back and forth. He did the outline. I've been working on creating the curriculum.
2 weeks.
Chad's been saying 2 weeks for the last 6 weeks, but it's closer than it's ever been. Nonetheless, it is ready. The curriculum is ready for review. So that was the hard part, right? Like I said, I sent Chad
review. Like I'm reviewing it again tonight for the third time. Fletch, who works at Westbrook Supply, has reviewed it. Joff, all these guys are ACA instructors, are reviewing it. Jeff Little's going to review it next. And then after that, we turn it over to a curriculum writer who has written tech manuals for the military, for government agencies, and instructional courses for about 35 years to do a final review. Then we upload it to the software. Then we launch the website and get the app built. I'm saying 2 weeks for basic, probably another 2 or 3 weeks after that for advanced to be live, another month after that for guide to be live. But about the time it would take you to kind of be ready for that next tier is when we're going to be rolling it out. And I got to figure out how to track this. We got to figure out how to track this. But we're going to create a challenge coin, and we're going to create a special recognition for what we call the founding 50. The first 50 people that are guide certified, so meaning the first person in each state that gets guide certified is going to be part of our founding 50. And there's going to be something extra that we do for those people. And then we're going to do something like the first 5. So the first 5 in each state will be part of another tier to where being a plank owner or being an early adopter actually means something. So stay tuned for more details for that.
There's a lot. Hopefully that was unpacking for everyone. Hope you're getting excited about it. We're going to normalize safety across the board and get some standardization and just keep people all safe out in the water, keep people from ditching all their gear to the bottom of the lake. It's going to be awesome. All right, Chad, what are we giving away first?
KBF lifetime membership.
All right, here we go.
Good one.
Boom. Who's going to win the lifetime membership? Winner is John Welch, my man.
Very nice.
Congratulations, my friend.
Lifetime membership.
So Josh, shoot me a text at 757-348-2232 and just say, hey, this is Josh Welch. I won the KBF lifetime membership, and I'll get you taken care of.
Also, everyone else who heard that number, please send all kinds of weird stuff to Chad's phone, all kinds of weird photos, please.
That way I can forward them. Send me some.
Thank you so much.
That's like giving to Darren.
I'm going to forward them directly to Darren's wife.
She's already got you on block.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Chad and I are down eating, and I'm out talking to my wife, and Chad comes out and he's like, hey Darren, the girls are ready for the hot tub. Well, I'm talking to my wife so she can overhear it. And then he walks back in. It's like, babe, no, he's joking. I'm at a restaurant.
Yeah, I was in the military.
Of course he's joking.
I was in the military. Listen, man, I was in the military for 20 years. You jack with me, you're going to get jacked with. You give me an opportunity to kind of throw a monkey wrench in the family dynamic, I'm going to. People used to call the shop. I'd answer the phone, Petty Officer Hoover, Lieutenant Hoover, whatever it was at the time of my career. And they would be like, hey, this is Seth Taylor's wife. And I'm like, wife? And then they go, and then I hang up. And then they call back. And then they get, baby, what? You don't tell your friends you got a wife? Blah, blah, blah. No, that's Hoover. He's just jacking around. Yeah. You're dog paddling up a waterfall after that, baby.
That's what he does. All right. Giveaway number 2. We're giving away a KFast Pass.
Fast Pass.
The whole thing, $475?
No. We're not giving away a K-Fast pass. We're giving away 2 K-Fast passes.
Dude, I need to join.
I know, right? Here we go. Winner number 1. Boom. Now,
I just looked up Josh. He is already a KBF member and he's a veteran. Well, Air Force, which is kind of like being a veteran. But anyway, so we're getting an actual veteran member. So that's pretty sweet.
Bass Hole, New Hampshire, my man.
Right. Darren, since you're the executive director, business manager side of KFAS, I'm going to let you get with Bass Hole, New Hampshire, and handle the KFAS pass once that's all set up and everything. So
you're going to get some time. We will not forget. So
that one.
Reach out to me at wendellfishing@gmail.com, Bass Hole, and we will get you on the docket. All right, let's do the final winner. Just giving away stuff tonight. Last one, second K-Fast pass is going to 3, 2, 1.
Which means these people actually have the best leg up on being the founding 50.
Yeah, they do.
Because they're going to get it first.
They could. John Long, my man. Congratulations, John. Same thing. Reach out to wendellfishing@gmail.com.
Now, let me ask you a question. John Long is pretty damn close to like John Smith. Are you screenshotting this so you can make sure it's the right John Long? Because
I got it on video. We're good.
I knew a guy named Richard Long in the Navy, and every time somebody said his name, it kind of cracked me up. But John Long is pretty freaking common. So,
well, congratulations, guys. And so this should be get kicked off. We're gonna do this thing. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So stay tuned on that. I don't think I got a lot of congratulations over here going on, but I think that's it. We're gonna land it. We are 2 hours and 14 minutes. We'll land this plane. Seth's like, I'm tired. I gotta get up and go.
No, dude, it was awesome.
Bro, Seth's got to get up and wrangle ducks tomorrow.
I know, right? It's like
ducks. We got all kinds of stuff, man. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
What did you say you do? A duck what?
A brooder. So after they hatch out of the incubator, you got to get them in a brooder. So it has a heat lamp and has the food, the water, and stuff.
Duck mamas don't do that job anymore, just like sitting on the little bastards.
You're looking at them. You're looking at the duck mama right here, man.
Hold up. I almost forgot one thing. Chad, did you fall on your butt again today? Wearing Crocs?
No.
Yeah, I saw the video.
He said no. Nope.
No. My son has a damn archive of all this stuff. So he basically puts this shit together to make it look like it all happened.
He slow rolls
I need a highlight reel of all the times you've fallen.
So what happened was we were doing the walkthrough of the 2 boats. And over there at the lake where you've been, you went over there after the knucklehead, and we go over there to film, and the side, it's been raining, so the sides are kind of slick. And he keeps creeping. And I'm like, dude, go over here where the gravel's at. Well, he keeps creeping because of the sun angle. I step on this thing and I'm like, whoop, whoop. And I mean, I got this $8,000 camera in my hand. That's not counting like the accoutrement, you know what I mean? The mic holder.
Oh yeah, the mics and everything.
Like, it's probably 10 grand for everything. I'm like, oh, and I'm looking straight at the ceiling, like at the sky. I'm also on a slope. So here's the thing, right? So when I go like this, my fall is longer than, because I slipped. And now I'm like, bro, I just cradled the camera against my chest, took my chin so that my head didn't hit the ground. And I was like, boom. And I got and then I just slid down until I hit the water. And then I'm like, get your camera, bro. So what does he do? Instead of getting his damn camera, he takes the opportunity to take his phone out. And, I got to document this because Dad busted his ass again. So
what I love about it is that happened after you fell in Crocs at the boat ramp. And you said, oh, I'm never going to wear Crocs again because I'm going to fall on my butt. And then you wore Crocs again.
I actually went and did a video called Crocs Kill.
With
the Crocs. But then I did this whole like rescue video wearing my Frog Tog shoes. And I got back and there was a little bit of grit and gravel in them. I took them off. I washed my feet off and I just threw my Crocs back on because I thought, I'm just filming. I'm not launching and recovering a boat. I'm just going to go over here and film Austin. and I got some
Gotcha.
ants on my regular shoes. So I just threw the Crocs on real quick. And then sure as hell. But you know what? Like I was wearing them today. I'm not just like a little bit Croc. Look at this shit. I mean, I got like,
oh, you got holes through it.
Oh, my shit is so thin, bro. My
Someone
shit is
buy
so
Chad
thin.
Hoover a pair of Crocs.
Listen,
My goodness, that's just sad.
My shit is so. No, I'm just gonna get better shoes. I found my shit is so thin.
Gosh.
No, I didn't realize that one actually. No wonder I can feel everything.
Got a freaking hole in the bottom of his Crocs. If you're listening in, he's literally put his fingers through the hole.
Bro, listen. I can step on bubble gum and tell you what flavor it is. These things are so thin. I didn't realize they were actually all the way through now, but yeah.
Chat, I got a 40% off Cross Kicks card here. I'll just give it to you. I talked to the owner. He's like, hey, reach out to me. Get you 40% off.
Oh, man. He might not be so happy after he sees my Crocs kill video, but maybe I'm still going to wear them casually. Like, they're the best house shoes ever. And in the wintertime, when you got some socks on underneath them, as long as you're not wearing socks and Crocs and shorts, you're good to go.
I don't even know what we're talking about. We're closing this up. But first, and well, actually last, thank you, Dark Horse Tackle, for helping make this possible, their support. And yeah, I look forward to getting their box in the mail this week. And so we can start looking at these individual lures again. But Chad, thank you so much for giving away a lifetime membership to KBF. Chad, thank you for giving away a 2 fast passes for KFast. And yeah, we'll get this thing.
Next episode of yours.
Yeah.
I'm authorizing you to give away 2 OG PFDs before
What?
they're even available. And again, I don't know how fast we're going to get through the Coast Guard certification process and all that other stuff, but I'm just going to give you the what do you call it? The commitment that on your next show, you can give away 2 KFast or 2 vetted OG PFDs. And if they are a KBF member when they win, I'm going to give them all of the pockets, pouches, panels, and a full outfitting of all the other vetted gear that goes with it.
Holy smokes.
Chad's in a generous mood tonight. I'm just going to keep him talking. Anything else you want to give away?
I'm going to do a free PFDs live in about 45 seconds as long as you keep this camera running. I'm just going to get up. And
all right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching Kayak Fishing Podcast. I'll see you next week. See you. Bye.